Hey there, it's Walt. When Ann and I first got together more than a dozen years ago now, she had been a distance runner, and I, of course, had been a high-altitude mountaineer. And she said to me, honey, if I'm going to be doing that mountain climbing stuff, she didn't say stuff, if I'm going to be doing that mountain climbing stuff, you're going to become a distance runner. And so at age 53, I did my very first marathon. And she created this marathon training schedule for us that ended up working very well. But I was really perplexed and concerned about it when I first saw it and reviewed it. Because every few days it had on the training schedule what were called rest days. And I said, honey, what are these things called rest days where we're runners? And she said, well, those are the days that we rest. And I said, but we're running, we need to train, we need to get stronger. And she said, rest is part of the training. And, you know, of course I know that also from high altitude mountaineering. You don't climb every single day, especially at altitude. You rest and you acclimatize. But I found this idea of resting in the midst of a marathon training schedule to be very, very unsettling. And, you know, what we've done is we have tended to idolize the idea of not resting. We've enshrined being busy. We equate success with working longer, harder, and faster. And I've been doing some deep reading recently on the 𝗪𝗔𝗟𝗧 work on peak performance and what it takes to develop excellence. And of course, Gladwell's 10,000 hour rule. Erickson talks about the idea of doing deliberate practice, but deliberate practice in really concentrated periods of time. And when you begin to unpack the truly successful artists, entertainers, athletes, performers, writers, financial people, business people, when you really begin to unpack their lives, you realize that they do this idea of deliberate practice. They work in very concentrated blocks of time, and they work for maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, and then they turn their attention to other things like taking a walk on the beach or reading or seeking out other types of relaxation and entertainment. They're not constantly on all of the time. As a young associate, I remember starting at the big firm, and my mentor, as he was giving me the orientation, was saying, now, Walt, you get 3 weeks of vacation. And then he leaned in and he dropped his voice and he said, but no one ever takes them. And I was remembering that story very recently. I was giving a time management and productivity program at a law firm, and a senior associate admitted to me afterwards that he hadn't taken a vacation in 2 years. And there was a certain bravado about that, and there was also a certain sadness around it. And I know the pressures of being in a big firm. I know the expectations of working longer, harder, faster. I know what it is to be a single parent and have so much to do. I know the pressures of the entrepreneurial life and always wanting to drive forward and to work longer, harder, faster. When you really begin to unpack peak performance, sustainable peak performance, you realize that the 10,000 hours of practice, the 10,000 hours of deliberate practice over a period of 10 years is balanced out by 10,000 hours of rest. And that's the statistic that no one talks about, is that we actually need to take the time out to rest and recover, to rejuvenate. And we can't possibly do the important work we're meant to do in the world, to take care of our kids, to take care of our partners, to actually go out and serve our clients at a deep level, unless we're rested, unless we're sharp, unless we're on. I don't have the answer to this. You know, as I said, I know the pressures that we not only bring upon ourselves in the entrepreneurial world, but I know the cultural pressures within organizations. And, you know, you can't just show up and say, hey, I'm on the mission for excellence, so I'm just going to work 4 hours today. That's not realistic. And it's not realistic to think that we're machines, that we can go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year without ever taking vacations for years and years and years. That's not sustainable. And that's not how we'll do great work. That's not how we'll do that legacy work and to leave the mark on the world and really care for the people that we want to care for and do that work that we most want to do. So, I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You know, scroll down and leave a comment below, and maybe we can come up with a better way of doing this. Make it a great rest of the day, great rest of the week. I'm going to go for a walk on the beach. Talk soon.